My name is Axel Grell. I'm the portfolio manager for audiophile products at Sennheiser.
Yeah.
So audiophile products are starting with HE600 up to HE1, the real expensive and highest quality stuff that we have
Yeah.
for reproduction.
Yeah, because Sennheiser recently introduced the HE1.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was last year.
Yes, we exactly 1 year ago we
Yeah.
had an event in London and we introduced the HE1 there. And from that time on we had a world tour with early samples that we have produced just to show what we have, how it sounds, what it will be.
Yeah.
And now we are ready with the product development and are going to ship them to the customers.
Yeah, I saw one of the, in the factory there was one room where the HE1 was produced,
Mm-hmm.
and the idea is to produce one every day,
Yes,
and it's completely hand built
yeah, definitely.
out of 6,000 components.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
that's really a lot. And of course the PCB mounting is made in an automatic line.
Yeah. Okay.
So you don't want to solder these small parts by hand,
No.
but everything else is handmade, yeah.
Earlier we talked about the choice for stone,
Mm-hmm.
and it did start off as sort of a joke.
Yes, so not so much as a joke. So we had the idea to have the tubes as good as decoupled from
Yeah.
vibrations as possible, and
Yeah.
the idea of the engineers was to have a block of marble, the tubes on it, and the whole thing spring-loaded
Yeah.
in a housing.
Yeah.
And our industrial designer, in-house industrial designer, once called me. He's in Zurich, his office, and he called me, Axel, what do you think? Is it possible to have this block of stone?
Yeah.
The complete housing is a block of stone, and the tubes are on it. Is that possible? Let me think about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why not?
Could work. Let's try.
Yeah.
So this is how the housing and the industrial design develops of this product. So it was all based on necessities to make the sound better,
Yeah.
but to bring them in a good form. For example, that the knobs move in, that the lid goes down, and the headphone is protected. That has just the protecting function.
Yeah.
But when the headphone is out in the dust for a longer period, and I think it could live for really forever,
Yeah.
dust will go to the electrodes and make the sound bad.
Yeah.
And so when you are forced to put it in,
Yeah.
the lid closes down, it is protected against dust, and it lives longer.
So in 2,000 years, when we are developed to aliens and we dig up an HE1, it will work.
Yes, definitely.
That's a good legacy. But it wasn't the first. It's actually some sort of revival of the Orpheus.
Yes, 26 years ago
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
We presented the first Orpheus.
Yeah.
It was already an electrostatic headphone with tubes,
Yeah.
a tube amp, and it was groundbreaking at that time.
Yeah.
And it remains the best headphone in the world until we presented the HE1 now,
Yeah.
which is the successor of the legendary Orpheus. And it is a little bit based on that. When we started with the HE1 project, we investigated what could be done in a better way today with today's technologies than it had been made 25 years ago.
Yeah.
And we found some details that could be improved, some technologies, for example, the transducers, which are the core parts,
Yeah.
which really we call them transducers because they transduce electrical energy.
Yeah. Because
to
it's electrostatic.
yes, electrical energy to acoustical energy.
Yeah.
In the original Orpheus, they had been made out of glass.
Yeah.
And glass is a very good material compared to all other materials used for electrostatic headphone electrodes before, because that was plastic or metal sheets.
Yeah, metal. Yeah.
And the advantage of glass, it is very even, and but the disadvantage is the inner damping of glass is not that good.
No.
So when you have the electrode in your hand and you ping it, it goes like a glass of wine, ping like that. It's much better than the metal sheets. They go dash, something like that.
Yeah.
Or the plastic parts are not
immediately
are that. That's okay.
Yeah.
But they're not that even.
No.
And so now we found ceramic material that has much better electrical parameters, which is as even as glass, but the inner damping is much higher. So when you ping that, it goes like.
And there was some platinum.
So platinum is on the diaphragm.
Yeah.
So first we have to put gold to the electrodes to make them conductive. To have, of course, ceramics is not conductive.
No.
So we use gold because gold is, when you dig it out in 2,000 years, the gold will remain untouched. So when you use other materials, it will be corrosive. Yeah. So long-lasting material. And we have the platinum on the diaphragm. The same reason, the platinum layer is very, very thin.
Yes.
And when there's corrosion or something else from the ambience that affects the material, it will be destroyed. Platinum will not be destroyed by anything. No. And so this is the reason for the platinum.
There's obviously a lot of science in the HE1.
Yep.
I've heard the last 2 years was development for producing it.
Yes.
But there was a lot of history before that.
Yeah, 20 years ago we had the first ideas already how to improve the Orpheus, but they were not really successful. So we tried to do things better and better. 10 years ago we started a research project, something that you can call really a project, not just trying and discussing and drinking coffee.
It's also part of it.
So we call it a project when it starts to cost real money.
Okay.
So when we really have to go to universities, institutes, asking for technologies, and we have to pay real money for it.
Starting to get real.
And that was 10 years ago. Now I think it's nearly 11 now.
Okay.
And we came out with a functional sample of the electrodes that were working already in a good way, and the diaphragm. A tube amplifier, but that was
not good enough.
Not good enough. So now we are 18 iterations away from that.
Wow. Okay.
And the amplifiers, the MOSFET amplifiers, were in the earshots, integrated in the earshots already at that time as well.
Yeah.
But at that time there were Class A amplifiers. They are still Class A amplifiers, but at that time the whole thing was really
heavy and big.
Heavy and big and getting really hot.
Yeah, Class A gets hot.
Yeah, now it's still Class A, but we call it cool Class A.
Is it high bias or something?
No, it is. So it's a Class A as long as you listen to music, natural music.
Yeah.
With levels up to 100, I must lie, 140 dB or so.
That's loud.
Yeah, and when it's getting louder, or you have some very special signals, which is not natural, then it goes to Class AB.
Yeah. And what's next after the HE1? Because I've heard in the introduction talk that as soon as you launch a product, it's not interesting anymore.
Yeah.
What's next?
In this case, it's difficult. So we will definitely work on making things sound better. Yep. You've heard of Ambio?
Yeah.
So this is a stereo headphone. It's the best stereo headphone in the world. It's the best sound reproduction system in the world.
Yeah.
When you just look at the parameters, frequency response wise, total harmonic distortion wise, it is lower as everything else, as every headphone, as every loudspeaker.
Yeah.
but what you do not have, you don't have the impression to be in the room where the music is played.
No.
Depends on the recording. Some recordings are very good and you have the impression, but MBO gives you that impression.
Yeah.
And so let's see how we can get the MBO thing and this sound reproduction system together. Let's see. Maybe.
Okay. So that's for you. That's the next step in experiencing music.
Yeah.
Get you for your feeling in the room with
Yeah.
the artist.
Yeah.
So you need some sort of surround.
Yeah.
It's different.
Not the classical way. So there was a lot of ideas how to implement that with HRTFs and so on and so on. And I think they were not really working. They were not really doing the thing that you really expect from it. I've heard you listen to a lot of these things, and most of them say, okay, doesn't sound as good as before. A little bit of room, but in front of me it's still in my head.
It's in your head.
Still in my head. It's not really working the way that I expected it, and so we find new ways, but there's still a lot of work to do. At the moment, this is the best possible, and of course, it is upgradable, all that stuff. So
I hope so.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you very much for your time and your insights.
Thank you very much, and hope to see you here soon.
Okay, thanks.